fights on VIP TV, former WBO World Super Welterweight title holder Liam Smith, a belt. Hopefully he'll be getting back sometime in the next 12 months. Liam, a big fight coming up for you. Magomed Kurbanov. You're number 2. He's number 5 with the WBO. You've got to go away from home. What made you take that fight, given that you're number 2? You could maybe get a final eliminator with Tim Tszyu or just bide your time.
Steve, I think you've knew me long enough now. You know me. Throw a challenge in front of me, I'll take it with both hands. And it was a fight I was offered. I watched a little clip of Kurbanov, and I thought, I'll beat you. Liam Smith turns up, I beat you 10 times out of 10. So it was a fight that I thought I'd take. And, you know, we're going through a bit of a pandemic, obviously. And, you know, we're in a situation where I'm not getting many offers at the moment. Not many people are, you know. Not many people are out. And it was a fight that got put on the table to me. I had to look at it, and everything made sense. It makes sense for me. I'm back out in a good fight that people are talking about. And, you know, it's a fight that makes me sit up and take notice. You know, Kurbanov can punch a bit, unbeaten Russian in Russia. So it's a fight that has made me sit up and you know, take notice of it. And I've got my teeth into it, and I'm looking forward to it now, Steve. We're 3 weeks out, and I'm in very good shape, and I can't wait to be back.
I mean, how much of a pain has this pandemic been? Oh, it's been a pain for all boxers, but particularly for fighters maybe who are just into their 30s, who are on their final assault to the top. And I don't mean that derogatory at all. You've still got plenty left to offer. That's why you're fighting Kurbanov, why you're highly ranked. But for someone like, you know, you, a year out, you know, more than a year, you know, this pandemic, it's been awful. Guys like Josh Warrington, you know, maybe that's causing what we don't know. You know, the other guy, Warrington, for example, had about 4 fights during the pandemic.
Yeah, of course. And like I say, if I was a bit younger, Steve, it wouldn't have bothered me in the slightest. You know, I'd have enjoyed family time, and, you know, it wouldn't have bothered me. But it come at a bad time. You know, I'm in the autumn of my career when I want to push on for, you know, one last big crack at it. And, you know, to have 12 months sitting on the couch doing nothing is not good for nobody. But you've had 70-80% of fighters doing the same thing. You know, only a handful of fighters are fighting behind closed doors. But, you know, I live a good life. I haven't been in, you know, wars left, right, and centre. I live a good life at home. You know, I don't take drugs and, you know, stuff like that, Steve. And I like food now and again. That's about it. You know, I live a good, clean life. So, you know, once I can get me teeth back into something, then, which I have done. Again, I'm ticking all the boxes now, and I'm performing well in the gym. So, you know, I can't wait to be back under the lights, Steve. I can't.
I've seen pictures of you back in Liverpool, but you was with Manny Robles in California. Who's trained you for this fight?
Yeah, I'm back in Liverpool now with Joseph McNally and Declan O'Rourke. Back at me amateur club at the Rotunda. You know, they've got David Price, they've got Thomas Hart, you know, they've got a couple of other fighters. And you know, I know them well. I've got a great relationship with them, so it's been good to be back home. Obviously, I've been, you know, closer to home with me family and my little girl. And yeah, I went out to train in America, and it was a decision I had to make. Manny Robles and 2 very, very good coaches, and, you know, I would have loved to have stayed there, but just little circumstances and, you know, little things have made me just bring back a little bit. And obviously, you know, timing was a little bit pushed here and there. You know, I was there and I had to come home for medicals and stuff, and then it was to go back out there for 4 weeks training, and then have to go and change climate from LA to Russia, which is 13 hours. I think that was a big decision also. So, you know, obviously, I'm like I said before, I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy with what I've been doing in the gym, and, you know, believe me, I'm in a good place at the minute, and I'm in very good shape.
It wouldn't have been homesickness, because I saw you when you was in just outside in California near San Francisco for 3 weeks, training with Amir Khan, and you were standing in a motel. Most people wouldn't go in, I don't think, looking at it from the outside.
Yeah, I can get accustomed to anywhere, Steve. I've went to LA on my own for the last 10 years. You know, that doesn't bother me, and that was not part of the reason why I haven't stayed there for this camp. Like I said, I've had a few different situations and circumstances come up at the moment, and I've just thought the best move for me at the moment was to stay here, knuckle down, and we're not far off now. We're just over 3 weeks out, so we're nearly there.
Yeah, I know Joe, and he's had his time working with Darian from round boxing, but a few people have told me he's a very good young trainer.
Yeah, he is. Obviously, he's been around boxing his whole life. Obviously, I boxed in the amateurs with him. I started my pro career with him also. He was a gym partner of mine at Georgie and Danny Vaughan's. He was an unbeaten pro himself. I think he had 7-0. And then, decided to call it a day. And then he's gone into coaching now. And he's, a very good coach and enthusiastic. And it's a bit of a family. It's his cousin who is the assistant coach. Again, former fighter, Declan O'Rourke. Went to Junior Olympics, was on the England team in the amateurs. So, they've been around boxing the whole lives. And, the two coaches that I think are probably going to be in boxing for a long time now.
Yeah. What was the decision to make the switch at this stage of your career? Because you've been with Joe a long time, had some great nights with him. Been to the Canelo fight with him. Just what was the reason for making the change, as you said, of your career?
Yeah, I just felt like I needed the change, obviously, and I thought the time was now. I felt I'd run my race with Joe, and I feel the time was now. I think I've got new people to impress now, and I just thought the time was right. That I needed the change, and Joe. It seems to work both ways. Joe seems happy with his lot. I'm very happy with what I'm doing now. So, it's a good move on all parts.
Yeah. Looking at it, I mean, if you win this fight, I don't know whether Tim Tszew's going to be is the mandatory. I know he's number one, you're number two. Brian Castano, the champion, is he one of the fighters a lot of guys will fancy beating who are highly ranked by the WBO?
He's a fighter I rate, Steve. I've rated him beforehand. I've rated him. He's a very good fighter, and he mightn't be a name like a Charlo name, but he's a very, very good fighter. And he's back in Manny's gym now. He trains out of Manny Robles' gym
over there, yeah.
No, because he just fought, but obviously I was doing some strength work with his strength coach, and he passed a message on to the strength coach saying, "Tell Liam I said hi," and that would have been, we would have crossed that bridge when we come to it. Obviously a lot of things could change beforehand, but it would have been funny if I did stay with Manny and I become mandatory and he was still champion. What would we have done then? He doesn't use Manny as a coach, but he does his camps in Manny's gym with the help of Manny and the assistant. But he's also got his own coach as well. But he does his strength work with the strength coach in that gym, who I was also using myself. So that would have been interesting. But yeah, we see what happens. Obviously, I'd be Kurbanov. I'll be pushing to jump back above Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu goes above me by beating Dennis Hogan. Dennis Hogan was not ranked above Kurbanov. If I beat the number 5, I want to be pushed on to 1. None of us are going to be mandatory at the moment, Steve. Castano's just won the title as a mandatory challenger.
He's got 9 to 12 months, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got a voluntary defence. I'm hearing he's fighting Charlo in July, which will be for all 4 belts, and that'll be very interesting then, because if Charlo wins, what will he do? Will he be bogged down with a WBC mandatory, a WBO mandatory, an IBF mandatory?
Yeah.
Or will he just want to move up and chase big money fights? And he's won all 4 belts. If Castano wins, I do think Castano stays and defends his titles. He's too small for 160. He's only 5'7", 8, 9. He's a lot shorter than me. So it's going to be very interesting, this 154 in the next 6 to 8 months. And I probably think, I'll beat Kurbanov. I'm fully concentrated on Kurbanov. I'm like I said before, I've got my teeth right into this, Steve, and I would never ever look past Kurbanov. He's unbeaten Russian in Russia, but I'm very confident of beating Kurbanov, and then the doors are wide open for me. Jesse Vargas, Tim Tszyu. I believe that the WBO will order a final eliminator with me and Tim Tszyu. So that's a huge fight. That's probably worthy of a world title in itself. So again, I beat Kurbanov, I'm right back in the picture, and I'm in a very good position again.
Yeah, the other thing is with these, when there are all 4 belts, when guys have had them before, because the IBF and WBO are stringent on mandatories, they're the more likely ones to break up, aren't they?
Yeah, it is, and they're not like, no disrespect to the world class fighters and the world champions, but what I mean is, I can't see, like, how can I put this? Like, so if Castano has got all 4 titles, he's not like a Joshua or a Canelo or a Fury where they will all play ball. The WBC, the IBF, WBA, they will not all let him do what he wants. Whereas if I've got all 4 belts, what I'm trying to say, Steve, if I've got all 4 belts and I've got an IBF mandatory and a WBO mandatory, they won't work together and say, okay, well, look, you can fight him, but you've got 90 days to fight him. I just think where Castano's not a huge name, he's not going to be on millions and millions of pounds, whereas sanction fees will still be getting paid good. So this is what people don't understand about the boxing situation, Steve. And I think, like, if Castano was to defend his IBF against the IBF mandatory, the WBO might think, well, not like, well, fuck you, but, well, you're defending your IBF, you've got to give your WBO up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just think whoever wins that fight, they're not going to have the luxuries of your Canelo, your Joshua and Fury, where they'll all play ball and they'll all bend over for the other ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, too much in sanction fees.
Yeah.
Just looking ahead, couple fights this weekend. One of your old opponents, Liam Williams, who you've defeated a couple of times, fights Demetrius Andrade for the WBO middleweight title. How do you analyse that fight, and how do you see it going?
I think it's a very, very interesting fight. The closer it's getting, the more interesting and intrigued over the fight. I think Williams, he looks solid at 160 now. He looks in very good shape, like body physique wise. It's hard to put your finger on it because obviously, in the same sense, I do think a lot more has been blown up about as recent wins than it should have, as in who he's beat. Yeah. But obviously, it's the way he's beat them and the fashion that he's beat them in. He's looked at dominant force at 160. Andrade is a very good fighter, very skilled, but I think has also blown hot and cold himself. Runs out of ideas after 4 rounds, maybe. But he could probably come and answer that with, well, I've had no competition, if you know what I mean. I've had no fear factor. Does Williams give Andrade the fear factor, or will he in the fight if he feels a shot off Williams? And if Williams can punch like they say he can punch. So honestly, Steve, I do think it's very interesting. I think it'll get interesting the longer the fight goes. You asked me to pick a winner. I probably think Andrade might just fiddle his way to a point victory. He'll hit and hold, and when I say he'll hit and hold, if it's not going his way, he'll find a way.
He nicks rounds. He can nick.
And the world amateur champion, Steve. He's a good fighter. I'm not trying to say, you know what I mean. I'm not trying to say he's average and runs out of ideas. He's a world amateur champion. He's two-time world champion. So he's a very good fighter. But whether he's just gone a little bit stale at 160, I don't know. But I think it's a very interesting fight, and Williams wins doesn't surprise me in the slightest. And if Andrade, wins, then he's back chasing his big fights and big names again.
A few hours after you fought Kurbanov, Billy Joe Saunders fights Canelo, who must have been more than most. He boxed your brother last December. You've been in that stadium in Texas, which was, I think I said to you before, one of the best weeks I've ever been around a fight. That whole fight from the press conference in July, or was it late July, whenever the press conference was? How does that go for Billy Joe?
I've said for a long time, Steve, I'd love to sit here and be a bullshitter and just be a bit of a kiss ass, and like a lot of people seem to do with the Brits, but I can't sit here.
Definitely not. I'll tell you that.
I can't sit here and tell you the lie. I'd love to see Billy Joe win. I'd love to see a Brit get all the accolades, all the praise of beating a fighter of Canelo's stature, but I just can't see it. There's no Billy Joe's style. You can say he's got the style to beat anybody because he's a slick, southpaw, fast, good feet, you know, a style on paper is a style that could trouble any fighter in world boxing. But I just think you're asking me about someone who, you know, since I fought him, I've just rated him even more. I feel he's getting better and better and better. I just can't really see how Billy Joe beats him. You know, I can't, and I think Canelo's that good that he wins, and I probably think he breaks Billy Joe down and gets to him late. But again, I hope Billy Joe turns up and frustrates the life out of Canelo. But that's how good I rate Canelo. I just think he's that good, and he'll find a way to cut Billy Joe off. And I keep repeating it, but I think he's that good. I think he wins.
I mean, I've seen a lot of this, and I think we saw in December when he fought Callum, if someone, you know, who had things in his favour, size, but couldn't put a dent in him, and that's a
lot of the thing.
Very, very good fighter there. Of
course, and just the solidness, even taking a shot on the arm or the gloves, you can't knock him off balance. You know, his defense is now the best defense in boxing for me at the moment. At this moment in time, he's got the best defense in boxing, and that was so hard to, and it's very, very it was for me brother Callum when you're throwing punches in it in fresh air. It's hard to take and it's hard to deal with. And there's a slow motion clip of Callum, and he does nothing wrong in the sense that he slips Canelo's jab, throws a left uppercut, throws about 4 or 5 punch combinations, and he slips every one of them. Rides one with his shoulder, he turns his neck, he rides shots. He's defensively unbelievable, and offensively now. And also, Steve, I do think he's got a little bit of grip between his teeth, a little bit of needle with Billy Joe. Billy Joe slagged him for a long time. Yeah. A long time. And whether that's genius of Billy Joe, he gets Canelo swinging for the lights. We're yet to see, but I know Canelo said to Eddie Hearn he stops Billy Joe inside 3 rounds. It's a 3-round fight, so I think Canelo is coming for blood, and we'll see if it plays into Billy's hands or not. But I think he's going to try and make a statement, Canelo.
Liam, it's been great to speak to you. Your brother's okay, and your missus and your little baby must be nearly a year now.
She was 1 Saturday, Steve. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was coming up to it. Yeah, and I thought it was another month or so.
Yeah, she was 1 on Saturday, mate. So yeah, everything's good. Like I say, all healthy, all good. I can't complain, and I'm again, like just what I was touching on before, I'm in a very good place at the moment. And I can't wait. I can't wait to be back.
And Paul's the king of the zone, mate. Paul,
he's back. Paul's back. Yeah, the zone. Yeah, he's doing well again, and he's doing.
Yeah,
he's getting spoke about well, and people are enjoying him on the zone. So
good.
I think he's working Saturday. The Billy Joe, the
William dad. Was it yesterday? Yeah, that he's
working there. And I think he's working the May 1st card. I think it's good for him to be back also and get his face back in and his voice back in.
His voice, yeah, that's good to hear him. I mean, I worked at Box Nation. He's very, very good at what he does. Yeah. People get him on social media, but that's Paul, isn't it? He's got something to say.
That's it. Like I say, love him or hate him, commentating, he's very, very good at what he does. And he knows his boxing.
He knows his boxing. That's for sure.
Of course, mate, definitely.
All right, well, thanks a lot. Send my best to Callum and Stephen, your mum and dad, and
he's good, mate. Yeah. He's good. He's back in the gym now, so he's good. He's happy.
Thanks very much, and I'll speak to you after Russia. Have a great time, a good time out there, and get the result.
Thanks very much, Steve. Thank you, mate.
Thank you, top man.
For all boxing info, news, and latest interviews, amateur and pro across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.